Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Middle-Aged Mutants show. My name is Ty. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Bodz. Say hello to the people.
Hey, everybody.
And No H. Go ahead and say hello.
I am a middle-aged mutant.
He's a middle-aged mutant. Okay, how's the weather treating you guys?
It's fair.
That's
here
a test.
in
That
this,
was a test. That was a test, No H. We do not talk about the weather on this show. What we do talk about is comic books, movies, comic book related movies, video games, and pretty much just nerd culture in general. So I want to see you after the show, No H. So first order of business. We're going to talk about. There were some trailers that were interrupted by some sports ball activity last week, or the week before, I guess it would be. And one of them I want to talk about is, at least the first one, is the Super Mario Brothers. No, I guess it wouldn't be the Super Show. It would be just the trailer itself. Let's go ahead and get that up.
So we're talking about the Italian-American Chris Pratt finally getting to represent his people.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and have you seen the actual trailer yet, No H?
I've seen the teaser, and I'm not sure I saw the extended, whatever newer one they had.
Yeah, this is actually a short one. We'll go ahead and play that.
We're the Mario Brothers, and plumbing's a game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. When you think is in trouble, you could call us on the double. We're faster.
I will say the animation looks nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Super Mario Bros.
You know, I'm not even into animation as much as the other average nerd, but I will say that does look nice, looks smooth.
I like the commercial, the plumbing commercial.
Yeah.
I'm going to call that number.
Yeah, well, you think that like nobody would actually call that number, right? Well, I did call that number, in fact.
Really?
And here's what you get when you call that number.
Thank you for calling Super Mario Brothers Plumbing. It's me, Luigi. If you need service, please text us at the same number you just called, 92955 That's 929-556-2746. Message us about any issues wherever you live, house, condo, mansion, and we'll be sure to text you back right away, because it's Super
Just
Mario
Luigi breathing.
Brothers Plumbing. We don't say let's wait. We say let's go. Oh, and check our website, smbplumbing.com. We're still working on it, so more updates to come. Bye-bye.
So Charlie Day gave us a little bit of a message there. Now you think like he said to go ahead and text it. You think somebody wouldn't text that? Well, yeah, I did text that. I told Super Mario Brothers that my shitter was full. So I don't know how they took that over at Illumination Studios, but I'm guessing not well.
Charlie Day monitors all of those, and he's very offended.
I can see him sitting there like just taking off his headset. I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, and he's going to figure out who you are, and he's got the rope on the pictures on the wall and the gun.
I love that episode. The reason why I like this particular trailer is because a lot of people don't know. Well, a lot of younger people probably don't know that this was actually the song itself was from the Super Mario Brothers Super Show back in the day. That was it featured I believe it was Captain Albano. Yeah, that's the guy.
Captain Albano, yeah, for sure.
And
I know much about wrestling, so this is probably new to you.
Yeah, well, yeah. Too much of my brain was occupied by wrestling. I've forgotten stuff now, but I do remember that.
Yeah, I just all I remember is when I was a kid, it was a lot of Hulk and Andre the Giant, and whenever I got older, it was just the Monday Night Nitros at Bodz' house. So
those Nitro parties.
Nitro parties.
We had it's funny because they were really rowdy, but we always had to keep it down because Bodz' stepdad was like, no, you guys can't have this here anymore if you're going to talk like this. So
I don't know how he's even here. But
yeah, that's what I didn't get either. I was like, how does he know? It had to be your mother telling him, tell them to shut up. Let them be mad at you.
Bodz is always saying, suck it. And
yeah, I was always,
Alive.
Yeah, he was doing the cross thing. Yeah, the crossed arm thing. Suck it. Yeah, that was his.
And he's going around with a baseball bat. Never really hitting people with it, just kind of threatening to hit people.
What I did was like I kind of like made a motion that I was going to hit him in the stomach with it, but I stomped at the same time.
Yes. That's how we all learn to fight. If anybody actually learned to fight watching wrestling, they just...
I got beat up so much. They did not, play along. So
Not too many. We went to something in my hometown late one night, and it was everybody was wrestling on a trampoline, and somebody on the trampoline said, "Hey, who's that pretty boy over there?" And Bodz like, "Me," and he immediately got in a fight with that guy. So
yeah,
it did not.
He did not.
Up.
He just beat me mercilessly. It was
embarrassing. It really was embarrassing.
Why you brought it up on for everyone to hear.
I don't even think actually. I don't know if anything happened. I do remember the Sub-Zero match you had with Tony, which was pretty crazy. But that's the only actual wrestling.
All kids want to be wrestlers, and they kept telling you, "Don't do this at home," and that's the first thing you do.
Immediately. I mean, we never used like chairs or anything like that, or like the the cathode. What are they called? Those long lights that you get.
Oh, the halogen lamp thing.
Yeah, we never did anything like that.
Or the kendo sticks, anything like that. But if you learn how to fight watching Mario, then you probably have better luck. You just try to jump on somebody.
Yeah, they immediately just shrunk and then kind of like scuttled off screen.
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited for this movie. That might just be me.
Well, I'll say this about this. The Chris Pratt voice thing. I think it's funny. And it's funny. It's like, oh, of course he gets cast as the voice. It just seems when you see too much of a famous person, you start to get kind of tired of them. Even though in reality, I'm like, I like Chris Pratt. I like him a lot. I've liked everything I've seen him in. And I think a lot of people give him grief about portraying Mario, but the famous actor, I forget his name, but the guy who portrayed the Mario voice for a long time wasn't some Italian dude.
No.
To my knowledge.
Yeah, no, he's really old, just regular old. I think he's Irish, maybe. I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
I was actually, thanks for the lead in here. Thanks.
That's what I was going to ask you. You told me you had something.
I actually thought, and this guy is in this movie, Sebastian Maniscalco would have been a better. He's in this movie and he plays a guy named Spike. Now, I don't know who Spike is because I looked this up. I thought it was one of the Koopa kids. It's not one of the Koopa kids. Yeah. Spike is Spike was he had a role in the first Super Mario, the really horrible Super Mario movie, which everybody hates, but I actually love. I have it's got a place in my heart. But
because that time not a lot of movies were coming out like that, and you're like, oh, it's Mario,
yay, But Spike was played by, I guess there was is it Fisher? I think his name was Fisher King or something like that. One of the
Fisher.
I can't remember that guy's name. Here, that was supposed to show with my shitters full joke. But let's see. IMDb. Let's IMDb this.
Fisher Stevens.
There you go. Fisher Stevens. Let's go. And who was? I'm trying to think of the other guy because Fisher Stevens was Iggy, if I'm not mistaken.
He was Iggy.
Iggy, yeah, like Iggy and Spike, I believe. And so the other guy was Richard Edson plays Spike. Yeah. Now in here he's one of the Koopas, and I believe that they have. If you look at the Super Mario Brothers movie itself, the new one. Oh wow, I didn't go right to it, so that's great. Super Mario. There we go. I believe that they don't actually show. They just show his name as Spike, and that you don't get any other pictures of who Spike was. But he said himself, this Maniscalco talking in an interview, that he is the boss, and that's all he said. He didn't say anything like the boss of the Koopas, the boss of who this or that. He said he's the boss. So I'm assuming that he means he's the boss of Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, I was thinking he's the boss of the plumbing company. Maybe he's like the old Mario's dad or something. But
explain why he's Italian.
This explains why he's what?
Why he's Italian.
Yeah. So that's what I think is going on. But I honestly I would have cast him as Mario. That's just me. I think that's
after the Transformers movies had Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime, you think like, but I don't think because I don't think people really associate Mario with having like a human voice behind him. I think people just think that's Mario. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, he's a silent character for so long, and then all of a sudden he's like, "It's me, I'm Mario." And it just doesn't really, for me at least, it doesn't really go with it.
Speaking of Peter Cullen, me and my wife have been watching Old School Dallas, and every once in a while they have a recap at the beginning of the show where it says what happened last time, and it's Peter Cullen's voice.
Oh, whoa, that's awesome.
He's all like, and JR and Bobby face off against who will run Ewing Oil. And now,
that is awesome. You know what's funny is I watched Dallas when I was a kid a lot. That and Knots Landing, and I that's embarrassing. But it's because my family was watching it. I enjoyed it, but I never noticed that as a kid. That's actually awesome. Now you gave me a reason to go back and watch Dallas.
Very few times they do it. It's like very random. Where like it's like.
Oh, okay. So he's not a regular, is what you're saying?
No. I've only heard it like just a couple times. I'm like, but every time I do, I was like, oh, that's Peter Cullen. That's Optimus Prime right there. It makes it for the episode.
Oh, here's the guy. This is the guy who actually plays Mario right here in the games. Charles Martinet.
Yeah, I think it was someone like that, and
yeah, that's
and I think Peter Cullen
was. No, it doesn't say where he's born. He's just from San Jose, California. It doesn't say like what he is. You know how people get all upset these days if you're not Italian, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that because he's Italian that he should play this character. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's hilarious.
Well, and we have you on audio saying that.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on. Go ahead.
I've liked Chris Pratt before. It's cool not to like Chris Pratt. So like,
it's because he came out as openly conservative, and that's probably the answer. But it's funny, but he is a marketable name, so you're thinking like, well, he's a draw, so of course they're going to cast him, just like Jack Black, right? Who I really enjoyed the voice I've heard in the trailer of Jack Black as King Koopa or Bowser or whatever. But what's funny is like I don't think I don't remember the guy's name who played Mario. We just had it up. I did not retain
Charles Martinet.
It's not important. We'll edit out his name. But the thing is, Peter Cullen has sort of developed like amongst the nerd community. He's sort of become more well known for some reason. I don't know why. That it worked for him, but not Mario. But what's funny is that I'm thinking like you have Charlie Day, so you have like what you will see fairly often. A lot of celebrity, well-known actors, putting regular voice actors out of work. So these celebrities who don't need the job can come in because they're draws, right? But I'm thinking like,
I think they call them scabs.
I think it's scab. But the thing is, I understand that obviously, but I'm thinking, would a Super Mario Brothers movie need that much incentive? I mean, it's Mario. You would think that would be enough. So
I don't know because if you look at here's my theory. The only reason we're getting this movie right now is because we got Sonic. And Sonic was played by the guy who does John Ralphio on what's that show?
Yeah, and I can't believe I'm blanking on his name.
Parks and
Rec. There you go. John. He's played by John Ralphio. So, and there's also Cyclops. This is going to be the worst part of the show. I cannot remember these people's. I think his name is like Marsters or Marsden.
James Marsden. This is the middle-aged part of the show where we try to remember people's names that are
deteriorated memory. Yeah, that's it. But there was star power there, but again, that was different because it was live action plus animation. But I think that's the only reason we're actually getting this movie is because they saw the ravenous fan base that came out for that movie. And so they're like, well, the iron's hot, let's strike it. And plus I feel at least that we're at the end of the superhero genre cycle. You get about a 10-year good 10-year cycle for each genre of movies. For a while it was the noir films, and then it was the westerns, and now it's, I mean, today
they definitely never truly go away, but they kind of like they cycle through how popular they are. And it's very popular to hate on Marvel these days, even though I won't disagree that there's a general decrease in quality, but I would say most of them,
it's the homogenization of Marvel that I think is the most objectionable. They're all the same. They just kind of feel like one movie, kind of just blends into the other.
Yeah, I'm not like a Marvel hater, but I'm just like, I do recognize the fact that you kind of know what to expect every time you see one, and
and there's no stakes too. It's all going to resolve. The only movie I thought that actually had any stakes was Endgame, or not Endgame, the one before that. What was before that?
Infinity War.
Infinity War. That was the one.
To me, it's like when a movie is probably generally.
Oh my God, guys, you're not going to believe. Never mind. Never mind. False alarm. False alarm. Something went off my screen. It freaked me out. Go ahead.
We weren't recording.
I thought we were recording for a second. I was like, oh my God, that's my little symbol wasn't at the top right corner.
But I think a sign that a movie probably isn't the best is when people have a problem with the most basic form of storytelling. Oh, the good guy won at the end. That's like going to be almost 99% of every movie, right? Oh, there was a conflict. There was a low point. When people like start having problems with the most basic elements of any story, the movie, if that's what they start thinking about, then the movie's probably not the best quality. You know what I mean? Like, you name any movie that you absolutely love, there was probably the same story structure in the other movie that was horrible. But because the other movie was horrible, you start thinking about these things.
Yeah,
it's true.
That's probably what's going on with a lot of Marvel movies.
Exactly. Well, now this is a good lead into our. It's not a Marvel movie, but this is a good lead into our next trailer, the Flash trailer. Let's go ahead and put that up.
Tell me something.
I want to turn it down.
You can go anywhere.
Really loud.
You know what's funny on my end? I don't hear it at all.
Oh, you don't hear it all?
No, on my end, I doubt. That's why the earlier when you're playing the commercial, or I thought I'm sorry to talk over the Flash thing, but I thought it was like Mario's like chilling silence. I'm like, is there an error here? But
yeah, because we didn't hear it.
Oh, you didn't hear a thing? Okay, then I'm going to turn off the sound too, and we're just going to talk about this. That way we don't get DMCA striked for this anyways. This trailer, it's obviously Flashpoint. And I'm kind of okay with this whole thing that Ezra Miller is going to be, this is his last movie and whatever, and that this is this going to be the action? Are they going to like destroy the universe in this movie is what I'm wondering. Is this going to be like, oh, this happened, and then James Gunn pops out of a box, and he's like, okay, here's the new movies, people. And
right.
I mean, are they going to edit the end of this thing so that it's like, I don't know, like it starts off and or it has like the end credits where, oh, here's a lead into the new movie. That's what I don't get about this whole thing. Why they're going through. I understand. I take that back. I understand why they're going through with it, because spend a lot of money on it, and Keaton's in it. If you didn't put this movie out, the Keaton faithful like myself would be like, what's your problem? Come on, this is.
Well, I mean,
it's the last hurrah of the Snyderverse.
They got rid of Batgirl, and Keaton was in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
he was in that one too. Oh, I thought that was just what's his head? Brendan Flavor, Brendan Fraser.
That's pronounced. Only real fans know. But I obviously didn't see it. No one did. But the thing I read online, and it's going to be obviously factual, but apparently his appearance in the film was a glorified cameo. He didn't do a whole lot. He just said, oh, well, I'll be watching you or something like that. So they probably
Okay,
had
so it might have been
Keaton
an
for like
end
a day
credit
or
thing.
two. They probably had Keaton for like a day or two, you know. I'm sure
Or
everyone
he
got
was
paid.
or he was filming this and they were like, "Hey Keaton, come over here for 5 minutes. You got the Batman costume on. Come over here and talk to
Yeah.
this guy."
On over to the different sound stage.
God, this
Fine.
s-
We're not going to pay you, but say this.
yeah. He's on his lunch break. He's like, "Hey, what are we doing here?" I think this part was particularly. Maybe it's just me, but when I get to this part, right about here, yeah, right there. The look at this. Look at how bad that looks. It's
Yeah.
worse than like the Back to the Future two Marty, or yeah, I guess it would be two Martys like next to each other scenes. That was pretty bad. I don't know about y'all.
Well,
So to
this is
me,
embarrassing because
it's
he has his twin brother on set there, Ty. So
You know, they
this
should have
is-
got to play. What was his
yeah.
name? The guy who played Xander for what's his name? Nicholas Brendan.
Nicholas Brendan. Yeah, whichever twin that is on drugs or whatever, allegedly.
Well, they could have done. Hey, hear me out here. Hear me out. This is what they could have done. I don't know if y'all ever read like I think it was Grant Morrison who did the Earth 2 book.
Yeah.
They could have had. They could have had the one that wasn't on drugs play like Barry Allen, and then the other one is the alternate universe one, but he's like the reverse, not like the reverse, but the Flash that was on like that Flash drug or whatever that made him run fast. That would have been perfect casting right there.
There you go.
Excuse me. I think so. It's it's Flashpoint, and Flashpoint is, you can like the story, you cannot like. I happen to be okay with the story. I just have
Flashpoint is good.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't dislike it. I just
The best thing that
Is it
came out of
bad?
Flashpoint.
No.
Well, speaking of Flashpoint, the best thing that came out of Flashpoint was the Thomas Wayne.
Yeah. So what's funny about this is a dad bods moment, but like I like that
All
storyline
right, people, this
so
is
much.
an official thing right now. We're TMing this right now. Dad
Yeah.
Bodz is going to be an
Dad
official part of the show. Take it away,
Where I
Bodz.
talk I did with my kids, but Flashpoint, I like it so much that there's this line of toys called Imaginext, and ever since like my son was 2, they've been making them. So, when we think about Ninja Turtles and Transformers and He-Man, like the line didn't run that long, but these toys have been running for like 12 years. But anyways, they've made just about everything. They made Thomas Wayne Batman, and they've made so many of them that me and him were playing with them, and we were reenacting Flashpoint, and so like the Flash meets Thomas Wayne, and they're talking
You mean
about.
you were like conning your kid into doing it? He was like, "Oh, Dad,
Yeah.
come on."
No, we were playing with the toys and reenacting it. And I was obviously Thomas Wayne, and I did the line in there like, "Don't talk about my dead son," and my wife like, "What?" Hey. But good
I love
times,
that you're
Flash.
doing this. This is all amazing. I love hearing about this.
The thing about to me, it's like the Flash. This is so I'm a huge DC fan, of course, and even though DC frustrates me at times, I understand doing Flashpoint. I like that there is an explanation for rebooting the universe, as DC does a lot.
Mhm.
But when it comes to a cinematic universe, I'm okay with just starting new, starting fresh. I appreciate the effort and the source material. They're acknowledging it and doing something about it.
Mhm.
To me personally, I don't need it. I'm okay with just brand new. It's like growing up a huge Star Trek fan, and they had the 2009 movie. I was a big fan of it, liked it a lot. I didn't need any connection to the other Star Trek. I didn't need it to like be an explanation. This is a separate timeline. To me, I'm okay if you just do a brand new Flash and don't invest a lot in the criminal Ezra Miller. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But,
no joke.
But I will say that the theory that I agree with is that Keaton is in fact Thomas Wayne. I like that theory a lot.
I do too.
And one thing, this is a very small thing, and it probably doesn't mean anything, but the fact that we're meant to believe that this is just the 89 Batman, right? This is the same guy, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think it's technically not. I think it's
Thomas.
I think it's Thomas, and the reason why is kind of stupid, but because J.K. Simmons is still playing Gordon, to my knowledge, and that ain't Pat Hingle, so I'm thinking that there is a different Gordon in a different universe entirely.
But isn't the other guy dead though?
Yeah, he is quite dead. I think I made sure of that.
So yeah, no, that's a good theory. I think that's awesome. If that's the case, I'm happy. But where are the guns? Where are the guns, man?
That one bat suit had holsters on it for whatever that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let's actually well, let's edit that out.
And as you're pulling that up, I forget who said it. Someone on Twitter said Keaton looks like Super Bowl parody quality of costume. Super Bowl commercial parody quality of costume. I'm like, well, he's like 70 or something, so
He's up there. Oh wait, it's over here. I'm gonna probably blur this out.
Just let him be Batman Beyond. Bruce Wayne.
I know. I wasn't even a big fan of Batman Beyond. Even I'm like, just do that.
Give him that part.
All right, so this is a good lead in for the costumes. Take it crop. So I'm gonna turn up the brightness just a little bit here.
Speaking of the gun holsters, I did read a tweet from the costume designer from this, and he said that those are grapple guns. So
those are grapple guns.
Yeah. So we can't even get him to have real
kind of. He does also have this kind of like weirdly like it looks normal on this side, but it's kind of curved. It kind of like scalloped towards the tip. I'm just wondering what this costume looks like from the front.
Well, they said his ears are first appearance ears too, so they're going to be curved kind of weird also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
I do.
It's funny. There's that one that is definitely that looks more like the animated one to me.
They said they did the 66 emblem for that one.
Oh yeah, that's right. Duh.
The which one?
For that one right there, the first appearance Batman suit, they did the 66 emblem. So if you look at close,
the West version.
I'm sorry, which one did y'all want me to look at?
The very
we were just pointing out on the first
left.
The
one with the holsters.
The one with the holsters.
That
sorry.
second one right there. Yeah, so that's
just the symbol.
That's the symbol that we're talking about. And this is the one that you brought up, Bodz, that is I actually have photos of.
The Scott Lynch Batman from the Batman Returns toy line that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my favorite just because it looked like a Batman costume.
I know.
It looks just like... It's cool. It looks like just like the one I had that was in black, except the belt here in the front, this bit right here was I guess it was a grapple, which never made sense to me as a kid. I was like, is he supposed to like bend crotched out and then like shoot this thing from his
huge cannon?
That was the 89 feature from the actual movie, which only had like him, Bob the Goon, and Joker. But the only reason I think they did that, Ty, was because remember how he puts the when he's with Dickie Bell,
puts it on his belt,
and he puts it on his belt. That's the only reason I think.
But being a kid, I was like, "What the heck?" It's like the in Orgasmo with the cock rocket. He was just like,
yes,
pelvis out, shot this thing at something. Hook. He hopes that he's got good aim. I guess he would have good aim. It's that close to his crotch, but
What's funny is, so there is an homage to that particular toy, right? That particular action figure, which as a kid, I really wanted. So I'm very jealous of Bodz that he got it. And why did I want it? Because it looked like the GD comic. And I think there's enough, there was the effort to make that costume, even if it's in the background, there was enough effort to make something based on that toy. And that toy wasn't even the most well-known. It wasn't the main toy of that line.
I had no clue it existed.
It was like some other thing, some offshoot they decided to make for that toy line, and people still remember it that much. And that tells me people want to see GD gray and blue.
I do. Yeah. I definitely do.
And it looks like Sweet is gray and blue too.
I do like that. I do very much like that. This is the 89 suit, right?
Yes, 80 on the other side.
Because this is the 89 symbol here. I mean, this is about as good as I can get it.
That was more like the Batman. No, it's the same.
But it has
symbol.
the little. I remember as a kid seeing it for the first time, and what I was used to was this symbol right here, and then all of a sudden they had these two scallops at the bottom, and I was like, yeah, that's a bit weird.
Which changes in returns.
Changes in returns. This is the return suit, I'm guessing.
That's the we all love.
Yeah, because this is the 89 suit with the actual like anatomical body armor, and then you have the bat penis, and then you had the I don't know what year Returns was done, but it had the more kind of mechanical looking armor.
Yeah,
it was 92, I think.
Sounds right.
Isn't it? I remember as a kid, the first thing I noticed, they did away with the built-in muscles. It was just more like armor plating. He didn't have tabs anymore.
Yeah, no.
I don't think people believe Michael Keaton was in that great, because we see him with his shirt off when he's sleeping upside down. I believe, and it's like, those muscles are fake. That man is fake muscle.
Some kind of body armor.
Well, that's the thing, though. You had to, some kind of body armor. You had to be a skinny guy back in the day to do this, because like when they talk about RoboCop, for example, Peter Weller is his name, right? Yeah. Peter Weller. They said that one of the reasons why they picked him because initially they had thought that they were going to have Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they're like, if we would have put Arnold Schwarzenegger in a suit of armor, he would have been massive. He would have looked fat in it, but the fact that this lean runner guy could be put into this big like shell basically, and he had the stamina to do it was better. So that's probably why they picked Keaton, because he was in shape. He was a little bit, svelte, and he had the stamina to stay in it. I just can't imagine the sweating that went on in this thing.
Yeah. Funnily enough, Keaton was in the RoboCop remake that came out a couple of years ago. That was officially okay.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that movie, dude. Ugh, no.
It was fine at best. But
it's RoboCop doesn't need to be remade. It's just one of those that Ty would not go see the third one with me, no matter how much I beg and plead. With good reason.
That is actually true.
Is that because of the whole Frank Miller connection or whatever it was?
No,
I believe he was a screenwriter.
I saw some of the. No, I was in trouble if I remember right. That's why I couldn't.
Yeah, especially your mom wouldn't let you go. But
I was constantly in trouble. Bodz would be like, "Hey, you want to go to?" Bodz should have gotten in trouble for things like constantly. He got in trouble for things occasionally because his mom was like really, really like she was kind of less than strict. My mother was the most strict person, and if she heard that I was in like doing something, I would get grounded. I'm like, Mom, you don't even have any real evidence. This could be a lie.
Hearsay. Libel.
Well, there's this story one time when we're kids. Bodz has this party and I'm invited to it. I didn't get to go for some reason or another. Okay. Bodz and everybody at the party thought it would be a good idea to go out and throw newspapers at cars that were driving by. So they're hurling these newspapers at cars, and they hit one, and I guess somebody came out and started screaming at him and told Bodz' mom. Well, then a day or two later, I want to say it was 2 days later, Bodz' mom calls my mom and tells her that I was out throwing papers with these people. And my mom's sitting there as she's hearing this. She's asking me. She's like smacking me in the head. And I'm like, Mom, I wasn't even there. She didn't even ask me.
I'm hearing on my end, my mom on the phone. I'm here.
I don't hear anything.
Sorry, screaming in the back.
Yeah, me screaming I'm like, what's his name? I can't remember the name from A Christmas Story, but I'm sitting there getting beat in the background.
Ralphie?
Schwartz. That's what it was. Schwartz. That's exactly. That's the kind of stuff that happened. But no, RoboCop. I think I was RoboCop 3 at least. That was the one where I think I was actually grounded for something. I was always grounded for something, no matter what I did.
Missed out on the robot ninjas.
Yeah, missed out on the robot ninjas. Missed out on the kid hacker. Missed out on flying RoboCop. I still haven't properly seen that movie since it came out.
Flamethrower arm. I don't know. It's like weird. It's like, what we're saying. You don't need to remake RoboCop because like the first one's so awesome that even the second and third one and like the ones that were in that universe just don't compare to the first one. It's just
Yeah, but
No.
the second one is pretty good. I
No,
would
no, I
give
don't.
it up.
But it's not as good as the first one. It's
Yeah, it's
still a
not as
good.
good as the first. Like I see it these days, and I think it's more silly than the other one,
Yeah.
and the tone is different. But I still like that. I still have fond memory because I actually, as much as people might have not liked Kane. RoboCop 2. That's what
Yeah.
everybody forgets that he was RoboCop 2. As much as they hated Kane, I was like, oh, I like that guy. He was the guy from Monster Squad. He played Frankenstein, and he's a really cool robot. And so I was down for that. But
And you were hooked on Nuke
I was also
at
hooked on Nuke at the same time. We were talking, me and Bodz were talking one day. I can't remember if I think I was at his house, but I had those little syringettes you use for eye drops. And I'm all, look, Bodz. And I was like, Nuke. It's just straight all over my neck. But that's what I think those were. But yeah, I'm down for this. I'm down for this costume. I think it looks great. He does his face though, man. Whew. You can see that age on there.
I mean, yeah, he's up there, but you know what? He's alive and in good shape enough to still do this. So,
The only thing that kind of bugs me about the new costume is the belt. I know it's not yellow, or
Yeah,
gold,
it's black. Yeah.
black, and I'm like,
I think
Yeah,
they should
like
have done this in red right
one-
here, and then this in black,
yeah,
and have it kind of
You know-
outside the borders and guns. That would have done it for me.
right now, as we're speaking, DC, Warner Brothers, whoever, just executives are very happy because we're focusing on these Batman costumes instead of thinking of the weirdo Ezra Miller in real life.
Yeah, no, that is the elephant in the room that they are trying to like cover up with Batman cape curtains. Going like,
And the
look
thing is, yeah, and the thing is, I'll go on record. I'm a Snyderverse hater. I never liked
Me
it.
too.
I liked Shazam, but
Haven't seen it.
that's kind of adjacent. It's sort of involved, but since the beginning, ever since like Man of Steel, I'm like, oh no. And I like Henry Cavill. I like Ben Affleck as the casting isn't really, except I didn't even like Ezra Miller before we knew about any of this. I was like, that's not a good Barry Allen. I like Grant Gustin on the TV Flash, but to me, it's kind of weird that there's not a blonde Barry Allen. I really don't understand this. That's not why I don't like Ezra Miller, but it's just an odd little kind of weird. But I didn't like him as just like, not to brag, but I've read a lot of comics and just never really felt like Barry to me. It's like, this is the movie version that they decided to go with, but he felt more like a type rather than like a person. And I know that's a lot to ask from a comic book movie, but I felt like he's serving as like the comic relief or something. And I know he was unappealing to me from the get-go. And now
He's
this
unappealing
comes
in general, I think.
and
I've
now
only
this
seen
comes
him in that. Go ahead.
But now this comes out, all this criminal stuff. I'm like, this was never worth the effort. And there was a thing I read earlier this morning, where Matthew Vaughn, the director of something, said that basically Henry Cavill was wasted in the Snyderverse. He said it was just a bad idea. I'm like, yeah, I think it was. And he said one of the main things that was wrong with it is he's like, you try to Batman up Superman. He's like, they're purposely two different things. And that's why when they combine and when they come together in World's Finest, it's fun because you have two different personalities. And when you make Man of Steel, this dark and gloomy thing, I'm like,
I mean, even his costume is, muted, darker colors.
I know they suck out the colors, and I'm like, whatever was fun about these comics, it's gone.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a fan. So when I see this big effort to give the Snyderverse a send off, that's why to me, I'm like, for like 10 years, I've been hating on the Snyderverse. I'm like, great that you're doing Flashpoint, a version of Flashpoint, but we can skip it.
Well, I'm like super angry that Ben Affleck was Batman when it was announced and stuff, but when he came along, he's one of my favorite now because he
was good.
I mean, he looks like Batman. Like he looks like a Bruce Wayne. He acts like Bruce Wayne. His costume is probably the closest to an actual comic costume. Is the first one to have gray in it. So I like that. I like these aspects. Of that I like Henry Cavill. I like his Superman. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. With like, you don't need two dark, gritty superheroes. You need
Exactly.
that dark.
They Snyderfied every character in the DC lineup, and it just was awful.
But really, this dates back to the Nolanverse being so successful. And when I first saw Man of Steel, I thought immediately, just going by the title, The Dark Knight was really popular. People liked that because it didn't have Batman in the title. It was more serious. And I'm like, I understand that. And there was a point in my life where, when I was younger, I liked the idea of having more realistic interpretations. But now I'm like, first of all, you take away Batman from the title. You take away Superman from the title. You make everything more realistic. Do you just not like these characters?
Yeah.
Do you just not like? If you think it's silly, I'm thinking like,
then why are you watching it? I mean, why do you have to have like the chocolate covered pill of like in The Dark Knight? Everybody's, oh my gosh, the beginning of the movie is like heat, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. It was fine. I liked it. But if that's what you're expecting from every one of these movies, you're right. They probably don't like Batman.
Yeah, especially especially in the Dark Knight Rises, and that's another thing. These characters have to be doing something in these titles. He begins, he returns, he's rising, he's doing. There's a verb. There's a present tense verb, active verb happening. But in the Dark Knight Rises, when you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the choice, I guess, spoiler, I guess. But like, I'll use my real name, Robin. If you don't, first of all, if you hate on Robin, then to me, you hate Batman. I know there's plenty of Batman stories where Robin has nothing to do with it, but I love the Bat family. And anytime Robin gets dissed, I'm like, it's a sour note with me.
Like John's like, you got a problem with Robin? You got a problem with me?
You got a problem with me, pal.
Let's take this.
I want to see Dick Grayson with that elf costume and no pants. We better see it, man.
That would be awesome. And I gotta say, one of the weird things about the this trailer, let's go back to the trailer, is he delivers his lines like there's something wrong. Like, and I know, like when I saw it, I was watching it with my wife, and I go, why is he so awkward here? The part especially where he says something like, I destroyed the whole universe or whatever. I was like, what is wrong with him? It's like he's stupid or simple. I don't know what to call him. I don't want to.
Simple Jack.
Yeah, Simple Jack.
Simple Jack.
My head move is.
We're like, he was talking like, I don't have very many friends. Like, he seemed awkward to begin with. Like, he was.
That or my wife's theory. She's like, he's on drugs. He's on drugs. Even this spot right here where he's like, that's where my mom's alive. I was like, he sounds retarded. I don't know what the deal is here. But my wife's like, yeah, that's probably the drugs they have him on, or the drugs he's taking on his own to just be slightly normal.
Yeah, that was all of this movie is going to be. I'm going to be watching and thinking that was the best take. That's the one they went with.
This is my face. The way he says it right here. This is my face. It's just so weird and awkward. And the other one looks like a psychopath. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I don't really like this guy. I really don't like the blue lightning. What is with the blue lightning in some spots and the yellow lightning in the other spots? It's always yellow lightning.
Well, there's like a whole spectrum of lightning. I think it just depends on what color your costume is, honestly.
See, this is the part right here. He's like, I destroyed the universe or whatever. God, I just can't. He's a bad actor.
And I'm not crazy about the costume myself, but and what's funny to me is like I like that there's a flash ring. It's just kind of funny that Barry Allen would be walking around with this, flash ring to begin with. But man, that is an intricate flash ring. It's like you got the symbol and then it splits. I'm like, man, that's a lot going on in that ring.
I have a theory that it's like he every time that he has to put it back in, he has to go to one of these mattress manufacturers that puts the mattress in the little cube, and they have to put it back in for him. And every time it comes out, it's like crazily, it pops out and like kills 3 people on the way out. There is no way you could get this ring to hold this little costume here. I just
Yeah.
Right there,
the Flash.
right there, like the electricity. Like look,
Mhm.
it looks like they're doing like the experiment to give Flash his powers back. Remember in Flashpoint?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to point out that I guess I did talk a little bit about the weather.
All right, I want to see you after the stream. I told you that we're not going to do this. We don't do this here. All right, you know. No, I don't know. I just I'm okay. I probably will watch this movie whenever it comes to VOD, but right now I don't see myself going to the theater to watch it, other than to see the train wreck that is Ezra Miller, in person. And
The only reason I won't see this in the theater is because it's getting pricey to go.
Yeah,
It's getting
expensive.
kind of expensive to go. So I'm like, yeah.
Well, the thing is, it'll only be me going to see this. If anything, my wife will not go to this movie. I can already. She's had it with superhero movies, so it would only be me. But you guys, yeah, you have it worse than I do.
Well, we have a small child, so it's like it's a big to do.
Oh yeah, you
And
probably
I
got to get a babysitter, and then
You have to make this big arrangement to. So it's like I don't know, man.
I have it worse where my kids are of age where they can watch this. So
You have to pay for that.
Oh, Dad, popcorn, Dad, candy, Coke, and you're like, oh my god, to get a second mortgage to get all this.
well, you go to the dollar store first, pack up your pockets full of dollars.
You walk in, making squishing sounds, and
Yeah. All the little Capri Suns in your pocket and stuff.
like you don't get patted down at the theater yet. So until they do, stuff them.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. As bad as the movie industry's doing, I bet you one day it's coming. Sir, what is this? What is this you got here? Is this Twizzlers? Oh my
These
god! I'm gonna
Twizzlers
need
here.
security. I'm gonna need security over here. It's gonna be bad.
They put on those little gloves and like we have to. You can come into this room with me, sir. Slap on the gloves.
Sir, I'm gonna need you to disrobe and you hear the snap of the rubber glove.
Yes. What's up here? Is this a mic and knife? What do you got? Just shut here.
This appears to be a baby Ruth.
This appears to be a true, sir. I've tested it, and the results are inconclusive.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Unless you guys have anything to add about this, I don't know. I'm gonna give this trailer I'm gonna give it. If I was gonna go through from 1 to 10, I probably would say, just because of the Keaton thing, I'd give it like a 6.5 because Keaton he sells this trailer for me.
I will say about this is like I think there will be a bunch of nerds who love it no matter what, because
the Snyder the faithful will be right there with
Snyder faithful. They will not allow themselves to admit that these movies are bad. And we will complain about it to the day of we see it and long after, and yet we will probably pay money to see it, and we'll be all a big part of the problem. So
What
that's
about you, Bodz?
I'm just jazzed to see Michael Keaton. So, I mean, I didn't know we would be assigning numbers to things. So, I don't know.
Well, this is just me. This is off the cuff. I would just say if I had to give it a number,
I'd probably a 9.77. I didn't know we'd be handing out number scores. I was not prepared for.
I will give it 5 cloudy days and 6 fair weather, 6 pleasant. I'm running out of
really. You guys are testing the limits right here. You're testing the limits of my patience. All right. Moving on. We got to get out of this. Okay, let's see. All right. Here is the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer that was shown at the Super Bowl, which Bodz pointed out to me that the movies start off exactly the same. They say, let me tell you something. And if we bring the Flash up again, here, let's see if I can get the Flash up again. And we got subtitles on. Yeah. tell me something. I guess it isn't exactly the same. It says tell me something. Let me tell you something. That could just be the auto generated captions. Bodz brought that up.
It's let me tell you something. It's Hulk Hogan is in charge of this. Exactly. Every trailer. Let me tell
every
you
trailer
something.
now. But this trailer, I don't know. I'm not a fan of the James Gunn Marvel movies. I mean, the first one that he did, the Guardians of the Galaxy one, it was all right. It was good. But the problem I have with these movies is that once this one came out, to me at least, it seemed like everybody had to joke. No matter who the character was in the Marvel universe, there had to be some sort of joke attached. I think somebody said like famously that what's his head? I forget his name. What's his name? Hold on one second. Actually, we're having a bit of technical difficulty.
Well, Bodz is booted for talking about the weather.
If Bodz, I would go ahead and jump out and jump back in. If you, he says he can't hear me, so hold on one second.
Well, the thing about this, you're right. The first Guardians, I remember. So here's the thing: I can be won over. When they first were making the Guardians movie, I was like, of all the characters, you're going to make these D-list, and hardly even the most knowledgeable nerd has this, passing knowledge of the Guardians. They're in the grand scheme of things, very obscure. And I was like, man, you're going to all that time and effort and money on the Guardians when there's other characters that haven't been used yet. But then again, the movie comes out and I end up really liking it. Something, hey, cool, and it kind of does a good job of making these characters more relevant, more well-known and things like that. So, okay, cool. Everything was fine. I don't like it when, generally speaking, not every time, but when the movie influences the comic instead of the other way around, and generally speaking, that's annoying, even though sometimes it's good. But the first Guardians, hey, it was good, but it did have this heavy influence. There was already humor in the Marvel, in the MCU, but yeah, it kind of went a little nuts. And I think the result is something like Thor: Love and Thunder, where it's just a little too ridiculous. And
I haven't seen that one yet, but I've heard that it's pretty bad.
Well, even Thor Ragnarok, which Thor is never my favorite. The first two Thor movies are one of my least favorites of the MCU, and I think especially the Dark World, the sequel, and I think Thor Ragnarok being so influenced by Guardians, and it's like, hey, you know what? Let's just make it a full-blown comedy. And people really loved it. So you can't argue that, it didn't work or anything. But to me, it is sort of like admitting that the first two didn't work. You know what I mean? When you have to go comedy, and it's crazy, and it's crazy successful, and it does work, but it is sort of like admitting that something failed, essentially. And but regardless, the only reason maybe they even decided to make Thor into a comedy is because Guardians worked so well for what it was. But here, to me, Volume 2, the sequel to the Guardians of the Galaxy, such a drop off in quality.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
I'm saying I hated it or anything. I haven't seen a Marvel movie that I just straight up wouldn't sit through. You know what I mean? But I think,
have you seen them all? I haven't seen them all. I mean, I missed Eternals.
Eternals. I mean, if you have trouble sleeping, I would put on the Eternals. But
I haven't. I think to be honest, the last thing I saw from Marvel was a proper movie that was Endgame. But in this movie, I don't know. It just seems to me like it doesn't seem like there's a lot like this kind of stuff right here. This kind of stuff. It seems like this kind of influence right here. Whenever it taints the rest of your I guess the rest of your lineup, there's something that kind of probably should have been taken out or taken back, but they just let him keep going. Like nobody course corrects at Marvel. I guess it was a course correction whenever they're like, oh yeah, this really funny movie has everybody excited, and now we need to go ahead and add more jokes because apparently recently somebody said that Kevin Feige was saying, oh well, like these new Marvel movies should have about what a joke every 2 minutes or so, and I was like, good Lord, no wonder a lot of this stuff has just started to tank so hard.
Yeah, I think it was fine. It was fine for the first Guardians. I think the sequel, I'm still unnerved by de-aged Kurt Russell. That was just,
that's creepy.
Russell bad guy. So
yeah, and so to me, it was sort of like, well, when the sequel has this decrease in quality, I'm like, oh, there are some bad signs, man.
Mm-hmm.
And if I see this, and then I'm like, if I see like drop off in quality every single time, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then I'm like, should James Gunn be in charge? One of the main guys in charge of DC now? I don't think there should be a singular entity in charge of all these movies. It sounds good on paper to have like a single voice instead of this disjointed whatever. But I'm also like, we've seen that with Snyder, and it didn't work. If it worked, we wouldn't be rebooting. Maybe have like a committee or something. Because
well, and I think that the reason why we're seeing it is because Kevin Feige was so successful in the beginning of the Marvel years. You know, the first 2-3 phases, it was kind of successful, and so we have people going, well, obviously it's a singular vision that is in some instances, like if you're talking about some projects, like, you know, when it's art, a singular vision does, because you don't want something made by a committee. You get camels that way, you know. That's
why at first it should be fine. You know what I mean? It should be. I understand why you would do that, but I don't know. And I think, you know, while I liked the Suicide Squad, I liked Peacemaker, but a lot of that was a reaction to how horrible the first Suicide Squad was.
Yeah, it was not good.
And I'm thinking, well, by comparison, I did like it, but by comparison, it's going to be, you know, amazing. But I'm like, yeah, that was fine for that particular take on that particular story, but that doesn't mean I want to see an entire cinematic universe spiraling or stemming from that.
That's a good take. I actually agree with that, because that to me is what I think is what we're staring down the barrel of. And that kind of leads us into the next subject, which is talking about the James Gunn universe. Let me actually just stop this.
Well, let me throw one thing out there that's bothered me.
Go ahead.
Since the first, honestly, since 2, because in 2 they find out that Quill is part Terran.
Well, part something.
Planet. I don't know.
I think that's like the species of Terran.
Well, Terran. I thought Terran was what Yondu was calling him, because he's
a human. He's from Terran.
Yeah, Terran. Or humans.
Okay, well, I know they found out he was part something. I don't know.
Well, he's part planet. He's part planet, is what, like celestial, is what.
Or ego or something.
I don't know. Once I found out that Chris Pratt wasn't actually that, it kind of really bothered me that Chris Pratt is playing that part. Because
he's not celestial American.
Yeah,
he's just like a guy.
Thing, you know, I'm just gonna hate on Chris.
That is a letdown. I think I think that's called what, appropriation.
Yeah,
there are real planet people.
Which planet do you think should have played Star-Lord Bodz?
Definitely not Chris Pratt.
Definitely not Chris Pratt.
Taking everything. Not really. I love Chris Pratt. So
yeah, he's great. But this, like I said, this kind of like brings me into the next part of my conversation, which is the James Gunn, or I guess, are we calling this the Gunverse or the James? I
don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what to call this thing. So we're gonna see the end of the this is kind of, I guess this is what how many do we got here? This is what, 5? The new 10 is what we're gonna call this.
Like, sorry, Beetle.
Sorry, Blue Beetle. We barely knew you.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm
man,
not hopeful for Blue Beetle. Like in the comics, I know who he is, and I'm fine with him. I
Well, I mean,
mostly
this is what it's saying. It's like Shazam will happen, then Flash will happen, then universe reset, and Blue Beetle's in the new universe, and Aquaman's in the new universe. That's what it's trying to tell.
no,
Oh
these
yeah,
are movies that
that's
were already
that's also
made.
confusing. Why isn't the like the supernova in between the reset? Because that's where I think you would want it. Or is the
Actually,
supernova its own movie?
the universe reset is going to be the main movie that they come out with, and it's going to be. I think so. They go to the trouble of having an Elseworlds category, which is good. I think they should do that. But
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't
but
go on the Black Label.
yeah, it's something. I'm like, why? But I'm like, so Aquaman and Blue Beetle they're movies that were already made, right? That's
Mhm.
why they're here. And it's kind of like why the Flash movie is here and Fury of the Gods, the Shazam sequel is here. These movies just happen to already be made. So this kind of just, they're in this weird spot. And that's why I'm like, I love the idea of explaining the reboot, but much like in DC, it only makes things more confusing.
Mhm.
I mean,
I like that. Hey, Teen Titans Go is an Elseworld thing. What?
Yeah.
The Goofy Teen Titans Go is not part of.
They had to make that distinction.
yeah, it's funny. Like, I think we should probably just stick to movies because I love that Superman and Lois is there. I enjoy that show a lot, but I'm like, I think we're okay if we just say here are some
Yeah.
offshoot movies that are their
Well,
own thing.
it is technically. It says at the bottom, assembled by heroes of something. So I don't
Right.
think this is an official. This is official, but I know that. I mean, looking at looking at the movies that they have here, the list of movies they have, I really only one that I am like slightly interested in or two. I guess three. The Booster Gold series, I'm actually looking forward to. Bodz, I've never actually read Booster Gold myself. Bodz constantly sings the praises of Booster Gold, so I'm excited to finally get to see it. I know some people were talking about, there's a guy in the movie Top Gun Maverick. I think his name was like Assassin or something, or Hangman or something like that.
Hangman.
No, he would be a good Gold.
Yeah,
but
that's who the rumblings are about.
I've heard Chris Pratt.
Yeah, the thing about Chris Pratt, it would be fine, but he's gonna have to buff up again, dude.
And you know what? I don't like Chris Pratt because he's not from the future. So
he's not from Gotham in the future. So
I'm never gonna live this down, am I? Because the Maniscalco thing is just gonna haunt me forever. I'm excited for the Swamp Thing movie.
The Swamp Thing, I think the only problem with Chris Pratt now is he's old. He's by Hollywood standards. He is now old.
Yeah. And what's funny is I keep seeing people say that Booster Gold needs to be young. I was like, no, he was a washed up security guard. Like, yeah, he was a college football athlete that, got into trouble and washed out. But like, he's kind of older.
The thing to me, I'm like, one of we'll never really know, but one of the reasons Cavill is no longer Superman is probably because he's just getting up there. And when I hear younger actor, I'm like, it shouldn't automatically mean, oh, great, here we go, because we don't know anything. But I guess logistically it makes sense. If you're planning to make 10 years worth of movies, you probably don't want some like 45-year-old to come in.
But you know what? That was one thing I did like about like Ben Affleck Batman was he was older, grizzled. I don't need to see another Batman Begins or Year One. I like that he's established and
one of the things. It's one of the things about the Batman. I'm like, I thought I would hate that movie. Ended up really liking it. So I'm thinking, the thing is about this, that to me, like, I love the fact that they have like an Elseworlds category. But to me, when I look at these movies, they're all Elseworlds to me because, they're just the movie versions. They're not like the quote unquote real versions to me. So I'm thinking it's all Elseworlds to me. So I don't know what else you would call it, but I do like the fact that they have that going on. But I don't know. There was a period where it seemed like DCU just like, hey, every movie, it's its own thing. We're not really worried about, trying to connect everything. And I'm thinking at this point, I was sort of okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I need everything to interconnect, but
Yeah.
universes are the money makers now. So what are you going to do?
Mhm,
I know. I
mhm.
remember like when CW, we were all about CW when Arrow came out and Flash came out, and the fact that they were connected, we thought was cool. It's not a it's been done a lot now, so it's kind of like
Mhm.
it's a novelty now, So
It's nice. I see it. It just causes the problems of homogenization of these movies. You don't get a different feel from each one, and when you look at comics, the only thing that's the same is you get the editors that are just going, "Yeah, well, this is happening here," and they get together and say that's happening there, and so you kind of have continuity. If there's anything that happens in the universe, they kind of like they have to acknowledge it, and they make sure the writers acknowledge it, but you still have a different feel from book to book, and I think that is kind of is it's a strength that these movies don't have. Whenever they have one singular vision, they all feel the same, which is again, it's fine, and it's fine a little bit, but to a point, it gets like, oh, this is just another one of those, and I don't
When
know.
that's the,
I'm a little
if
bit scared of
one
that.
doesn't work, if one doesn't work, there's a good chance of the majority are not going to work. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like MCU in the beginning, I'm thinking like, yeah, it's fantastic. I still like the MCU, but that was technically started in what, 2008, something like that, and it
2008.
really peaked around when the Avengers movie came out, 2012. I'm like, we're following a model that is like a decade old at least,
Mm-hmm.
and people like they keep on wanting to pump out shared universe after shared universe. I'm like, the model is kind of old now, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously there's an audience for it, and it'll
I
all
don't.
depend on the execution.
I think the audience is getting smaller over time right now. I think we're in the downtrend of this, and we're just a half a step away. We've already seen the deconstruction. If you look at Joker, the first movie, that is the deconstruction period, and that's how it always starts. If you look at comics, when you have your heyday, everything's great, and then all of a sudden you'll see a deconstruction. That's usually the herald that shows up. That's the end of the heyday of your uh
Yeah,
I guess
and that's a
your
good. That's a
industry.
really good take. When you see something that's a reaction to purposely wanting to like, we've seen a lot of this now. Let's, like you said, let's deconstruct it. When people are doing these type of experiments in storytelling, I'm like, okay, we've seen a lot of this now to the point where people want to see the antithesis of it. We want to see the opposite.
Mhm,
they
Just
they want to be removed from it.
mhm.
yeah, there's an interest in seeing what the opposite of this is. And
Eh,
but there's what they say, the rule of cool. You know what I mean? If a movie's good, like I said earlier, we won't focus on little nitpicky things. If the movie is good, we won't focus on like, I don't know, would a character really say that? Would they do that? Like if you look at movies back in the day, like if any classic movie came out today, like a Star Wars came out today in the lens of modern day, we'd be pointing out all sorts of errors and things that we think are dumb.
Mhm.
But it's the rule of cool. It was really fun. So we aren't sitting there focusing on the little bits, the thing that, well, that didn't make sense because he did that. He said that earlier. You know what I mean?
mhm.
And so if these
This is
movies
true.
are good, we won't spend time or
We'll
we won't
forgive
think
it all,
those,
exactly.
yeah, it
Yeah.
won't be as important.
I just have to say though, the here's the thing that when I look at this lineup, Creature Commandos, Waller, you know, the Authority. I know these, and not Creature Commandos as well. And I know it's an animated series, but really, Creature Commandos, the Authority. I've read some of the Authority, and I'm not particularly a fan. I honestly think that is them throwing Jim Lee a bone, because if I'm not mistaken, that's part of the Wildstorm acquisition, and I just don't really care. Waller, it's throwing. I forget the name of the lady who's going to play Waller in that. It's the
Yeah, I think she's a great Waller. Do I want to see
Yeah,
a
she's a
Waller
great Waller.
show?
Do I want to
No,
see a
but
series? Not really. If it would have been Suicide Squad, the series, I think I would have been okay with that.
or
But
something
I don't
called
think.
Task X or something like that.
Yeah, just I don't know. And Creature Commandos, I I don't know. I'm fine with it being a cartoon. That's great. But I don't know if I would have led with all this stuff. I think it would have. I don't know.
Well, it's sort of like I said, like when the Guardians first came out, I was like, why are you spending money on those people? Nobody even knows who they are. I ended up liking the movie.
Yeah,
The Bat, I thought I would hate that. So I'm like, and I look at these names, I'm like, all right,
Well,
man, one over before, so okay.
yeah. If you really think about it, Iron Man, like in our day, like when we were reading comic books in the 90s and we were all about Marvel and, I didn't pick up an Iron Man comic. He was like a C-lister to me. Like,
yeah. He was kind of like he was attached to a storyline. Like for example, the other day I was reading what is it called? Daredevil Born Again. So I'm reading this and I'm getting towards the end of the book and Iron Man shows up and I'm like, yeah, that's about how it happened back in the other day. He was kind of a tertiary character,
yeah.
not even a supporting character. If you ask me, he was more of just like you're saying, a third stringer. I mean, he's really cool. I would like if they're all, you can be Iron Man tomorrow. I'm not going to turn that down because the money. But
well, the thing is, like when people think of Iron Man stories, the famous ones, Demon in a Bottle, he's an alcoholic, and
that's what I remember.
And
and they never touch it in the movies that he was like a horrible alcoholic and a womanizer. Never touch any of that.
Tony Stark gets drunk at a party in part 2, and they call it, "Oh, you're such an alcoholic." So they touched it just to say that they did, and I'm like, you didn't really commit to that.
No.
The thing is, like, there's only like maybe like 2 or 3 Iron Man big stories that people can think of. I'm thinking, like, how many decades worth of comics are there that people don't remember these things?
Yeah,
it's because they're okay. they're fine.
To be honest, it's the Robert Downey Jr. movie is what it is, because it was his comeback, and he, I don't know if it's a bad thing that he played the character. My take was that I wanted Sam Rockwell, because I'd heard that Sam Rockwell was trying out for the part. I was like, oh, I mean, I like Robert Downey Jr. He looks like Tony Stark, but of the 2 actors, my favorite is Sam Rockwell. So,
well, you got him in the sequel playing this
probably
Hammer or whoever it is.
Yeah, that was kind of like salt in the wound. I was like, oh man, it's like y'all are making fun of him too. He's that just upset me.
He was my favorite in Galaxy Quest. Guy.
Yes, Guy. Oh gosh, Guy. He's like, is there any air out there? You don't know. I love Sam Rockwell. He's awesome.
From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original movie fame.
Exactly. Sam Rockwell.
Yes.
Awesome guy. And this Batman Brave and the Bold thing. So Damian is apparently going to play Robin, or is going to be Robin, the Robin that we see here. Now, Damian is not my favorite of the Bat Kids, of the Robins.
He was
he's not my most hated, but he's not my favorite.
He was my favorite for a long time. But I've been reading a lot of 90s Batman, and I've started to really like Tim a lot. That 90s era Tim I like him a lot. So I don't know. I go back and forth, but
Ty's always going to be Nightwing. That's going to be his thing.
Always going to be Nightwing. Exactly. That's that's the omission right here that I think, the glaring omission, that we have still not seen a Nightwing movie, but we're going to get Booster Girl. Well, Booster Girl is a series, but Supergirl and the Authority. Really? I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
if they are doing that run of Grant Morrison's Batman, Dick Grayson does play a big part of it. So maybe we will get
maybe.
Well, you got the Titans show, which is now in its final season.
It's about to be over. But
which is like, I like the actor, but I'm like, he's not like anyone's dream version of Nightwing. I
still want the guy from what is it, Iron Eagle? That was the one. Back in the day, they were like, oh yes, in Wizard. That was a huge deal. They was like, let's cast these movies, and one of them was the Bat Family, and it was always, I'd never remember that guy's name.
I can't either.
Here, I can look it up.
Iron Eagle, and that's about it. An episode super.
Let me look it up. IMDb.
Perfect Nightwing. Louis Gossett Jr.
In my mind, anyway.
Okay, let's see. Iron Eagle. I tried to get my wife to watch this the other day, and she was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "Hey,
Oh man, that movie. They play Queen in that movie. So
Yeah.
Jason Gedrick."
yep, Jason Gedrick. Yep.
I'm sure he's still there.
Like,
And you know
that's
what's
the perfect actor.
the other guy that they have in here that always cracked me up? I call him like bargain basement Emilio Estevez. Where is he? Where is he? His name was Knocker, I believe, in this movie.
Knocker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
His friend.
Notcher. Michael
Yeah.
Bowen. This guy
Yeah.
is like the bargain basement Emilio Estevez. He was in the movie that's not him. He was in the movie Night of the Comet was the first movie, or sorry, the second movie I ever saw him in. My wife showed me that. If you haven't seen Night of the Comet, I highly suggest it. It's a really good like a zombie movie that I don't think me or Bodz has ever seen, because Bodz never mentioned it to me.
I've always heard of it. I never actually.
Heard about it, and I think I saw it a long time ago, but I can't remember. I just remember everybody saying how awesome it was.
Yeah, I like Night of the Comet. So, but this guy, that's what I.
You know what he could play now? He could play like the Earth 2 Dick Grayson, who basically grew up to be grown up. He was like Robin, but as like an adult.
Yeah.
Which that's like my favorite version of Dick Grayson.
Oh, is it the Red Robin?
No, he was Robin. It's like, this is like from a long time ago. He's basically long before Nightwing in like the Earth 2 or whatever, JSA or something. There was
we're talking about Gedrick. I thought we were still talking about Bowen. We're talking about Gedrick. Sorry.
No, like the older guy. He can play grown-up Robin who never adopted his own name. He just stayed Robin. And that to me is so pathetic. It's so hilarious. It's like, I think there was a version, I'm getting mixed up, where he was with the Huntress at one point or something. I forget. But whoever his superhero wife, I could just, in my mind, I could just see her giving him grief about still being adult Robin. Like,
well,
never
does come back as Batman dies in Earth 2. But he has like he adopts like the weird yellow cape with like the Dracula kind of pointy collar, and keeps the domino mask, and kind of integrates the Robin into the Bat thing. Not a great look, but yeah,
pair that with some pixie boots and underwear, and you got it going.
Yeah.
A weird amalgam of Silver Age Batman and Robin.
Yeah. Well, you can have nipples or pants. Which one do you want?
What do you want?
All right. Well, unless you guys got anything else to say about this one.
Well, I mean, just the fact that I feel like I shouldn't have this worry or something like, oh God, we're going to get a lot of bad content, but because I haven't seen anything yet, and I'm like, I don't know. Like,
and the first thing, you're not going to see anything until the Creature Commandos comes out,
and it's like it's so unfair to immediately say, oh, this is going to suck, when I'm like, what do we know? We don't know anything about it.
No.
And I will say all of these sound like, hey, I'll check them out. Paradise Lost, immediately boring. I don't care. Just haven't seen one single frame of anything. And I'm like, skip.
Yeah, skip that stuff.
Then I'm super up Booster Gold. So
yeah, I'm excited for that.
I think Booster Gold.
Booster Gold. Well, we'll have to check it out when it comes out.
It's like that Smallville episode was good, and too bad he never did anything else.
And it's like, there's a Blue Beetle movie. That'd be a good segue into Booster Gold. No, it's a different,
totally different universe.
Reyes, who is okay.
Yeah, I don't know this new Blue Beetle. I've seen him in the comics a couple of times as like I said, as like a tertiary character or a supporting character, but never. I mean, the last time I read anything about Blue Beetle was Kingdom Come, I believe. And
he's done a lot, but it's if you talk to anybody and you say Blue Beetle, most people are not going to know who you're talking about, but if you know, it's more than likely to say, oh, Ted Cord. And I'm like, well, this is he'll be the Michael Douglas version in Ant-Man. He's Hank Pym. There'll be some older actor who will be Ted Cord, and that's who you get. I mean, that's which is,
Well, I
whatever.
thought this was like a whole new deal too. Like the Blue Beetle costume is actually like sentient, and I don't think that was the case with the original Blue Beetle, right?
Well, the Ted Cord, he didn't get like any type of like supernatural powers or anything, but there have been Beetles before who did.
Yeah,
And
the scary.
the thing is, I only kind of know that, and I'm a big DC mark. The average person, I don't expect them to care about any of this.
No.
Well, I know the kid in there is the kid from Karate or Cobra Kai, which like Zolo something. I like him. I think it's good casting for Jaime Reyes, but yeah, I mean, at our age, we know Ted Cord, so
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
who knows?
See.
Well,
Which one of the kids was it?
he's one of the main kids. It's probably one of the very first.
Oh, it's probably the actual this Zolo.
Yeah,
Mariduena.
yeah, he's probably.
Oh
really
yeah,
good
it's him. It's right there.
Yeah, he's really good casting for that. And I like him in that. And then he
He's
can
not
fight.
my favorite character in the show, though. My favorite character is Hawk
Johnny.
or whatever his name is. Of the kids, Jacob veteran Eli Hawk.
Yeah,
I've only seen the first season, and he's my favorite of the kids because
he has a good storyline. Like if you keep up with it, like, he has some kind of go into villain mode and then redemption stuff. He's full Hawk. I don't know.
Yeah, I like
being my I'm Johnny fan. I mean, just
Johnny is hilarious. I do like it. All right, so let's segue on over to the game news portion of this show, and we're going to talk about the Witcher. It's not really a fiasco. I wouldn't call it a fiasco. That probably wouldn't be it, but the word I would actually use, I'd say more of a, I guess, just kind of like not even a clerical error. This was just something that nobody really was paying attention to, because what has happened is basically is whenever they went ahead and did the Witcher 3 complete edition, that was not complete, but the next gen version of the game, they included a bunch of mods that I guess gave like quality of life features and or just better graphics, like better textures and that sort of thing. They didn't quite look at all the files, because there was some unintended additions, and one of them is some anatomically correct nether regions goodies, if you will. And so I'm actually going to show y'all. I don't know if y'all how well you're going to be able to see this, but I'm going to show you this. I'm going to blur it out for the public so nobody's going to see it in TV land here, but let's go ahead and show that one. So as you can see, we already had the upper portion, pretty well defined, but now somebody took the time to actually
So in the Witcher verse, they have the landing strip.
Yes.
Yeah, no, they weren't sporting the dinner roll or her suit.
Yeah,
woman.
I figured it would just be the wild books in the Witcher bill, but they do some womanscaping apparently.
Yeah. And those were, if I remember right, the witches, right? The witches.
Yeah, they're the crookback bog witches or whatever they're called.
I don't see them using razors, but yeah, they're
Well, they have all those swords. They have all those swords and axes and things, right?
Yeah.
A dagger.
Probably I would go for a dagger. If you're going to use a sword, you're just asking for trouble,
They're just using a big broadsword, and it's like,
I mean, because they didn't have shaving cream at the time. It was probably some sort of like, I don't know, potion that they it's a dual purpose thing.
Here's what goes on. They say, hey, can I borrow your broadsword? Okay, cool. You come back like 20 minutes later. It's like, you didn't kill anybody. I'm like, what did you use that for? And you just giggle.
Having read all the books of The Witcher, I do know that shaving was something that was done quite often because Geralt does not like to have a beard in the books. And at one point so at one point he starts having the book, and in the book, Yasker Dandelion, he's like, let me borrow your razor. I hate having it and having a beard. He like hates having facial hair, which now that seems weird because every picture we see him, he has a beard now, thanks to the game, which allowed the players to grow a beard if they wanted. But character, he does not like having a beard. So, but going back, there was the ways to do landing strips. Yes.
If I remember right, in the first 2 games, he does not ever sport a beard.
No, he doesn't
at all, as far as I remember. My wife, she won't play him without a beard. She's like, he looks weird. I don't like it. So she'll always make sure.
You know what? She's creepy without a beard, but like
he does look creepy.
In the first 2 games, he kind of looks creepy, but in the books, they actually say like he kind of has a creepy look to him, like a creepy smile and stuff like. Beard makes him super handsome in the game, so she's
he also
right.
hides behind a lot of bushes. He peeks over windowsills to look.
He's hiding in bushes apparently. So I'm just imagining a room full of men with computers tirelessly making these, having to go online doing research of what one of these things looks like.
Because they don't.
They probably have never seen one.
This would be a modder, so this wouldn't be a rube. This is probably one guy who worked.
One guy.
He's all like, there's probably like a group of modders, and they're like, oh, okay, so you're gonna work on the vagina. You got the vaginas this week. Oh, I got the vaginas this week. You know what you're doing, right? Yeah, I know what I'm doing. And so he goes over and does the research.
I'm gonna do one quick search. That's how the pubic hair.
Yes. It's like there was no scanning of bodies. There's no way he had any access to any females to actually scan in.
So if you were the intern that day and you were a woman, well, you know what your job is apparently.
But yes, this is apparently getting patched out of the game soon. I don't know if it's still in. I don't know if it's been patched yet. I haven't looked on Steam to even see it because they don't. They'll talk about it in the news, but they sure as heck won't talk about it in like official capacity, at least from what I've seen. They've apologized profusely. They said that it was a mistake because they pulled in a lot of these mods. It's kind of like a package deal. They paid for them. They gave all the modders their due, and then found this out later, which makes me wonder, was there any testing done? Because I'm sure that these guys are so sick of playing this game at this point because it's been released like what? We're in the 3rd release. You had the original, you had the complete, you had the original, then you had, I think, the DLC version, the complete, and then you had the next gen version. So 4 times, you're telling me 4 times the game testers are gonna play this for the bajillionth time and be like, yeah, and just.
It just goes to show you, if you play a game long enough, you're going to want to see some genitalia after a while. Mario? Yeah.
The part that gets me is, so like in CD Projekt Red, obviously you guys, Bodz will know, they did Cyberpunk 20, is it 77? 27, I believe. Yeah, so they did that, and that had it had customizable genitalia. So why is this such a big deal? I don't understand. And I never played as the girl. I played as the boy. So there was like 3 sets of, length and girth. So why was this the big story?
Why are they?
That came out, nobody said anything. They were like, oh, guys, you can make your junk bigger or smaller. And in here, it's like, this doesn't even, like, I look at it and I go, yeah, I mean, if you're a kid, you're probably going, and you're a boy, you're like, whoa. But it just doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I don't even think the game's rated T. I think it's rated M. So this is.
I shouldn't be playing Witcher 3 anyway. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So I never understood when this story came out why this was such a big deal. Because you've already done it. And here's the deal. This is just me musing because, like I said, I have not played as the girl. What was the customizable part on the girl? Was it was it the landing strip or the dinner roll? I don't know. I just
Probably breast size.
oh that yeah.
Or
That's true.
the posterior, you can just decide to make that bigger or smaller.
I doubt
I don't know,
that.
if you're the guy and you're like choosing, you can adjust the size of your junk. Are you like, I'm gonna make it real big? No, I want this to be realistic. Let's shrink that down a bit. I want it to be me in the game.
Well, what would be funny is if it would have been like Rainbow Six back in the day. I think it was the first. Is it the first or second Rainbow Six? I don't remember which one it was. Where if you had the camera that went with the 360, you could go ahead and take a picture of your face and put your character on the multiplayer side of the game. So they should have done something like that.
You can have it own.
Well, this is a perfect segue for my next dad bod section.
Okay.
Game playing with my kid is we play Fortnite together, and right now the battle pass you can get Geralt. So I'm sure a lot of these kids are like, "Oh, that's that guy from the game with the vaginas." Yeah, because
and like kids are coming now.
They know Witcher 3. I mean,
they go online, they see this, and
I'm the mark. They're like, "Oh yeah, that he'll buy it because he's a grown ass man playing Fortnite with his kid." Like characters he cares.
Oh, I'm sure you are I'm sure you're actually the top. Like when they're thinking about like what they want from a player in these games, you are probably the target market because you have money. Your kids don't, but because remember when we were kids, showing our getting our parents to buy us something, that was you were a salesman. That's where you learned to sell. And and the thing is like it was how good of a salesman we were. I was only about as good of a salesman to be able to go, "Hey mom, there's this little, remember the little tiny transformers?"
Oh yeah.
Those were an easy sell to your mom. But if you were talking about a giant transformer, no way. That's why I think the little transformers and the G.I. Joe existed, was for that.
Yep.
Yeah. So even if it was like your own money you got from doing whatever allowance or whatever, it still had to be convincing them to let you spend that money. And I remember it's like a kid thing, like, can I spend my own money, things like that. And it's like, you're going to try to spend it on this. And it's like the parents will be like, no.
Yeah. No, you're not getting that.
You can ask my mom. I would say just a cheap toy, and it would be like one of the little transformers.
Mm-hmm.
But
that was it. But go ahead, Bodz. You were doing your dad bod segment. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're right. Like, look at this. Look at the characters in there. There's Geralt. There's Doomslayer. Pretty sure Doomslayer is a mature game. So
it's Doom Guy. No, I'm just kidding. He's also known as Doomslayer. QuakeCon calls him Doom Guy. This Doomslayer stuff is new to us.
You know what it is? Because like when we on PC playing it back in the day, I mean, I don't know if he even had a name.
No, let's call him Doom Guy.
Yeah,
but that's Robbie
was.
But yeah,
Robbie used to play it a lot, so that's how I knew him, Doom Guy.
So yeah, Fortnite, they are catering towards me. You're right, because the things in there, it's stuff I care about, and I appreciate it because the first time I ever let my son spend any money on this game whatsoever was they had Batman in there. I was like, yeah, go ahead, and he was playing on my account, and so.
And you watch it, and you're like, well, son of a bit.
Well,
I'm gonna get into this now.
No, I didn't even get into it then, but he was playing on my account. COVID happened, and he was like, please play this with me, like that. And I was like, okay. And it just so happened, Deadpool was like the Battle Pass person that season. I was like, you know what? Okay, fine. And then I've been playing it ever since. So, like, because I was like, well, Deadpool here. I took my account back, so I got Batman back. And Star Wars. He's...
Well, for years, I was trying to get you to actually get into this. I'm not into this, but like PC gaming, I was like, Bodz, come on, dude. You can play these games and you can mod them to be whoever you want. And one of the characters you asked about was Deadpool, because I was playing Left 4 Dead, and I was like, oh yeah, you can play as whoever you want. Basically, somebody out there has made a mod for it, and Deadpool was one of them. And I remember playing Left 4 Dead as Deadpool, and I was like, oh, Bodz would be all over this. So this game is like this. If you were to ask me what game was made for Bodz, this was it. This was the one.
Yeah.
That you were
any character you can optimize and customize.
Yeah.
Like wrestling games, like you can make your own wrestler. You don't even have to play as the wrestler. You just make them.
I can tell you, I'll like spend more time making a character than playing the game. Like, it was Oblivion. I think it's Oblivion. I made my guy. He's still in that dungeon. I never got him out. I made him. Spent like hours making him.
After all that work, I think I'm gonna quit for the day.
That's a lot of mental energy. You know what I mean? So it's like.
Oh, and he will spend hours doing that. He'll go, hey, look at this. He's created like all the Justice League. All of a sudden, you're like, whoa. And then that's in DC Universe, at least. He just was like hours and hours, and he'll spend. And the funny thing is, like, so you're playing with Bodz, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna be All-Star Batman. I've made the perfect All-Star Batman. You look at it, he's like, yeah, that's great. And so then you go and try, and you're like, hey, I made All-Star Superman, and Bodz will like immediately start critiquing your Superman.
That's funny because
that's not right.
I tried to get John into it, and remember, John, you had one character in yours, and it was All-Star Superman, and like, I was very on how you made him, and he never played against me. That's probably why I'm playing the game by myself. So
I'm just the outlier nerd who doesn't really play video games. So.
Hey, it takes all kinds to make a world. So I mean, you gotta be there. You gotta be yourself, man.
I have a tendency to catch on to things like years after I didn't watch Doctor Who for the longest time. I'm just now reading Harry Potter. I'm just, you know what I mean? So I'm like, by 2050, I should be like, hey, Tetris is pretty cool.
I know all about this.
Oh, but we're gonna talk. I was gonna talk about that. This is just an impromptu thing. They're making a Tetris movie that's going to be on Apple Plus TV, and it's it stars the guy who was on I forget the movie,
Kingsman.
the Kingsman. I was going to say the gentleman, the Kingsman, and it looks way more dramatic than I ever thought they could make a Tetris movie.
Yeah, you see the trailer for it?
Yeah, let me bring it up. I haven't.
So I think I heard about this, and I'm like, Tetris is like a Russian game, right? Is that?
Yes.
So I'm thinking Eastern Promises, but with blocks.
Apparently, it's like this is the how all the craziness.
If y'all could have heard the audio, I would have played it through here, but I don't know why the audio isn't playing for you guys. We're gonna have to
hear the audio. Just playing I know the pieces fit, just like but I mean, I can't hear it, so I can't verify that. So
it's about the making of the game, is that?
Well, it's about what I think happened is it was already made, and this guy's basically trying to buy it and sell it to Nintendo or whoever or Atari. I don't know who he's trying, because this is I'm guessing this guy right here, the Asian gentleman on the screen, was the overseas Nintendo rep that he was talking to. This is the Russian guy who developed the game. And, I mean the trailer, I could not believe how action oriented this trailer was. I was like, I was unaware that they could do the. Oh wow, that was the Game Boy. They were talking about the Game Boy. So
he's the guy who goes, we should make all Game Boys come with this game right here, and I'm going to go to Russia and get the rights to it.
Ah, okay.
And things do not go well in Russia because
nothing goes well in Russia. You know what I got vibes of whenever he's in Russia? I got I don't know if you guys have ever seen this movie. It was one of my favorites as a kid. And is weird because kids would have a hard time with this movie. Firefox with Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah,
where he goes to Russia and he steals the MiG, whatever MiG it is, 31 or whatever it is, and he basically tries to abscond with it back to the United States, and he has to do all this spy business at the beginning. And that's what this show kind of like brought out for me. I was like, whoa, this is like Firefox, because it's whenever Clint Eastwood makes it to Russia, he goes there as this businessman, and man, they are up his ass. The KGB, they want to know why he's there. They know something's going on, and that's what I kind of got from this, is that they were scared that of any American coming in and taking something from their country that could be like, I don't know, valuable.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I got from it too. Then it looked really cold in Russia. So you know, again, about the weather, it's cold in Russia.
This is all gonna come up in y'all's review when we talk about this later. But it looks, I mean, it looks fun to me, as fun as you could make a Tetris movie. I thought it was gonna, when I first saw it, I kind of thought it was gonna be like a Wizards, where like you had kids that were like playing Tetris in a tournament or something. So this is a pleasant surprise. And to be honest, just from the actual look of this, I get more of like a 80s feel than a lot of even the Stranger Things movies, which, holy crap. A lot of the times when I watch those, I'm like, I don't think you kids know what the 80s. Oh, this is something completely different. Let me.
This is.
But I do not get the feel of the 80s in those shows anymore, or 90s. I don't know if they're in the 90s yet or not.
No, they're still in the 80s.
They're still in the 80s.
Yeah.
I think that they need to rework that a little bit, because it doesn't feel like it to me. I was there, and I just don't get.
I was there.
I don't get that knowledge.
I was there 3,000 years ago, Gandalf.
But yeah, I don't know if I'll ever see this, because I don't even know how you watch Apple Plus movies. Do you have to have like a box or something, or is it just something you subscribe to?
It's like a subscription service.
It's a subscription.
Yeah.
Well, if any of you guys see it, you gotta let me know if this is good, because I was a little bit.
I think John has Apple Plus TV, don't you? Because
I did at one time with like a phone plan service promotion. Had it for like a year. Watched Severance and Ted Lasso and The Morning Show, which got annoying. And but yeah, there's some quality stuff on there. I would recommend it. But would you get it for Tetris? I don't know. But
yeah.
But
here's what we really need to do, guys. We need to really start promoting this Apple TV, because it's great. It's got a lot of quality shows. If they could sponsor us, just so we can have watch this.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you this, for when Severance returns, we're going to go out of our way to subscribe to it. Like, I can wait on Ted Lasso, I can wait on everything else, but when Severance comes back, yeah, we're gonna. If we don't already have it, we're gonna re-up.
Yeah.
And you hear that, Apple Plus? We'll be talking all about Severance.
Yeah, just contact me, and I'll go ahead and get that going.
Yeah.
What else did we have on the list? Bodz, you said you were gonna, since we've segued into the actual gameplay news here, you said you were going to talk about The Last of Us Part 2, perhaps?
Yes.
Because you just got back into that?
No, it's Part 1, actually. That's how far behind I am.
Part 1. Okay.
Yeah. So, no, we, like the rest of the world, we've been watching The Last of Us. So I was like, I need to play the game that came with my PlayStation 4 years ago. Originally, I was playing it. I was very loose with my ammo, and I got to a point where, like, you fight this big monster in a gym, and I didn't have enough ammo to kill him, so I gave up on it.
Oh, and really?
Yeah, I was like, if I didn't have enough ammo, I couldn't win. So
I was stingy with my ammo in the beginning. I don't remember. I remember the guy you're talking about.
For some reason, I was just going crazy. It was a loose cannon, literally. And, yeah, so I gave up on it.
Martin Riggs. You were being Martin Riggs. You weren't playing as Joel, whatever his
I was trying to get Joel to do like shoulder rolls and shoot, and But no, the show came out, and I've been playing the game as I've been watching the show. And as far as adaptations go, pretty good. Like they use the same script pretty much. The wording's the same that's in the cutscenes and stuff. So. Pretty good. So obviously I have not beat the game yet, because I'm kind of going along with the show and stuff. But yeah, game. But it's Naughty Dog, so I was so I'm not surprised.
Well, it was one of those. I haven't watched the show at all because I refuse to. I played the game, and the game was one of at least when I've played it about 2 or 3 times now. I have like the remastered edition. Um, I really enjoyed that it was a stealth game because we'd only had Naughty Dog's Uncharted series to
Mhm.
kind of go by. I mean, they had other games like I think Jack and Daxter is theirs as well, but um, and plus Crash Bandicoot. Um, so I was really intrigued when I was like, oh, it's a stealth game. I started playing, and that's what turned my wife off of it. She was really a big fan of the Uncharted series, and then she played this, and she's like, oh gosh, no, I can't do this. Just can't be bothered but to do the stealth. Oh, that's the guy you're probably talking about right there, Bodz, that big dude.
Well, yeah,
The
that's
bloater.
what it looks like. I think it's called a bloater. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
But anyways, I played through the entire game, and the ending's pretty satisfying. It's a longer game than I expected it to be, and I mean I enjoyed it. I Once I saw the trailers and stuff for the second game, I was more turned off by it because it seemed to get too woke for me. I was like, yeah, no, I can't be bothered to play this. But the first one, I mean, solid game. I would recommend it if you're watching this series and you do have like a PS4 or a PS5. I think it's coming out on PS5 here, or it already has. Go ahead and check it out. But I just
Yeah.
there's some of the casting choices in this that I find like I'm like, oh gosh, it's a little bit like objectionable. Like I don't like this girl. She is
Well,
goblin. I cannot believe they cast this girl. She looks just strange. I've never been comfortable with her, even after I saw her on Game of Thrones. I just do not like her as an
she's
actress. But
she's good in it. She's a good actress, but like it's like almost the character model looked like the girl from Last Man Standing. Like if you're familiar with that show, like one of the daughters on there looks like she would have been the perfect girl.
the girl that it's actually based upon she is I'll show you a picture of her actually. Let's go back to IMDb and
There he is.
Then
part 1. I think she's in part 2 as well. This is the actual girl that's based upon
Ashley,
Ashley Johnson. That's
daughter
who
from Growing Pains, the youngest daughter from Growing Pains.
Oh no, I didn't know that. You know what I know her from? The Avengers.
Yeah, she had that little.
She had
was
that
a
little
waitress.
part. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's who the actual character's based on, and it's funny because whenever this, I think that what was the name of the girl that became a boy. What's her name?
Elliot Page.
Yeah, there you go. That there was a lawsuit initially because it was Ellie Page at the time. Ellie Page said that they're stealing my likeness, and I think they came out and go, actually no, this is the girl that we base it off of. I think you're being a little bit
voice. A lot of the
say?
voice from the show are popping up in the or the game are popping up in the show. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's actually on the show.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe she is. I don't know. I don't see. Yeah, it says right there, TV series. So she's in one episode at least. But
That's
yeah,
cool.
that's who actually does the voice of Ellie in the game.
Yeah.
And I think she did a good job. This girl I'm not a fan of. Just not a fan of.
Look up Last Man Standing, since you're there on IMDb. Because I wasn't the only that thought this, but
Is Last Man Standing? Is it based upon? Is that the TV show, or is
that's
it? Okay.
Yeah, go down.
Which one?
Caitlin Deaver. That's right there.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that, she would have been a good.
Yeah, I could see that. She kind of looks like Ellie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That
then
other
I
girl
guess
is not
Ellen-
it, dude. She is not
Ellen
it.
Page, yeah, I can see that too.
But yeah, because even in this picture, that's more Ellie than anything.
Yeah.
So I'd be way more excited about that. I just think it's because this other girl's the it girl at the moment, and
Yeah.
God knows why, but
He's the it
What'd you say?
guy. What about Joel?
That's my
Oh my God. Yeah, that is. I do not care for Pedro Pascal
Why?
anymore because, dude, I don't
It's 'cause
like people that are like,
that's what it is, Ty.
I don't really like the I don't like the it person
this is the
in
thing,
general.
this is a thing since Taylor's oldest time. The person, like, I like Pedro Pascal. I've enjoyed him in this show. I never played the game, but it's also like I have a feeling he's having a moment right now, and that's why I got cast. Does that mean the show isn't good to me? No. But I'm like, was he put on this earth to play Joel? No, he's really good. But that doesn't mean, he's the guy people had in mind. And
Mhm.
they
that's
should have.
just what happens. And it's, it's
I'd rather it be like a meritocracy rather than this guy is the it guy. Let's put him in this. I really am. I'm really done with that. I mean, Chris Pratt.
Yes, Chris Pratt. Should get Chris Pratt.
they should have got him.
Well, Chris Pratt would have been a good cast for this, but Chris Pratt, that's why they're putting him in everything. He's kind of the it boy right now, which I like Chris Pratt. I love Chris Pratt. Last movie I saw him in was that Alien movie on Prime. I don't remember what that one was called.
Tomorrow
It
War.
has a very that's the last movie I saw him on that I liked him.
Well,
and
you need to watch Terminal List then.
yeah, you were telling me Terminal List is pretty good, so I need to get on.
It's a book. I've read a few of the books, and it's pretty good. Pretty good.
I'm
Well,
definitely gonna check that out.
Now, I think I should point out earlier, I said Ty hates Mexicans, and so the audience knows Ty is Mexican. He's not
So, what's funny
He's
about
not
in the
Mexican.
show,
Like Pedro Pascal isn't even Mexican. I think he's like Chilean, which is I don't care, but I will say that it is a little bit funny that whenever he was on Buffy, he was as European and as American, or sorry, he's more like all American boy that you could be when he was on Buffy, and then now all of a sudden he grows himself a little Narcos mustache, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm from Chile." You're like, "What?"
well, I'm sure at the time he probably figured that'll get him a role in easier time.
I'm sure.
But what's funny on this show is, he's again, I have no reference to the game. I'm not some nerd. I don't play video games. But
You always got to make us feel bad, don't you?
Yeah. So it's funny. He goes around most of the time like, I'm Joel, I'm like solemn, and I'm all business and blah, blah, blah. And every now and again, some real emotion will come out, and he sounds, I don't know how else to put this, very Hispanic.
Yeah.
It comes out like all that raw emotion comes out, and that's like his. I'm like, okay, that's the real Pedro Pascal's voice coming out, and it's a genuine performance. It's not bad, but it's just all of a gun. He's like, I'm not even going to try to mimic the voice.
Well, I think the original voice actor was Troy Baker.
Was Troy Baker, who is in this show also.
There's an official podcast, and he's on it. I've never listened to it. I just know that fact.
Yeah, Troy. Well, anyways, Troy Baker does kind of like a Texas, because they're from Austin in the game, and he does kind of like a Texas thing. And I think he did an all right job. I mean, I've heard. I mean, lots of Texans. He doesn't sound so off that I would be like, whoa, it's not like it's not like he's from like the deep South that he's doing an accent. Like it's coming out.
There's definitely the actor version of a Southern accent. It's like,
well, the fact that he's from Texas, having a Hispanic dialect isn't far off either.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's not. I mean, let's just call him Tex-Mex. That's what we'll call him. He's Tex-Mex.
Tex-Mex food. So,
but anyways, I'm not gonna watch this show. I'm not excited about playing the second game, or if there's a third game. I will say that the first game was excellent. It's got a satisfying ending, and if you really want a good playthrough, go for that one. You guys are going to have to tell me about the series as it goes, because I'm not going to.
Well, for me, who I have like a passing knowledge of the games, I know certain big things that happen, and I'm watching the show like I like it. People are going crazy. I'm like, well, let's not go nuts. I think it's because it's the same deal with Andor. People loved Andor. I liked Andor. Was it the best thing I've ever seen? No. I think it's because there's some podcasts I listen to that pointed out, like, I wonder if it's just a lot of gamers are just finally watching a prestige television show for the first time, something that's not anime, and now they think, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm like, it's good. I just implore you to watch more television. It's
not the best thing ever.
It's not bad, but let's just reel it in a bit.
I'll say this just because I'm going and playing the game like as I'm watching the show, like, you know, pretty much right along with it. That it's a good adaptation. Like,
yeah, I like it.
And I'm not slagging off its adaptation qualities. What I'm saying is, I have no interest. I've already played the game, and it looks like and now that you guys are telling me it's pretty good adaptation. Then I've already seen this.
Well, that's another thing. That's another thing I think we should really like point out. Like John, like, you know, me and him, a lot of times we're like, well, that's not like the comic book, and we get mad. But do we want to like see the comic book screen for screen, panel for panel?
Yes.
Well,
yes, we do.
but most people don't. Like they want something new, and they want something different, and not that's going to be predictable. But I don't know. Maybe I'm old. Maybe I don't.
Maybe you're middle-aged.
I'm middle-aged now, and maybe I just want things to be like it is, like in the comic or the game and stuff. And this is why I kind of enjoy this, because they're not throwing wild twists at me. They're not like going.
I do think that then they like expand greatly upon the what's his name, Bill's relationship, because it is not. Is from what y'all told me. In the game, it is not even. It's
wildly different from
fleeting in comparison to what you saw in the show, because I think they dedicated a whole episode to it. They dedicated a whole 5 seconds to that whole thing in the game. At least that's how I remember.
And I will tell you, the whole Billville episode, it was good, not worth deviating from the main focus of the story.
Mm-hmm. In the game, it was just them trying to get a car, and that's the only guy they knew.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, Joel was like, "Oh, I really don't want to go talk to this guy."
Yeah,
it's like people are saying, "Oh, it's the best thing ever." I'm like, it wasn't bad, didn't like it, but it was not as good as you're saying it is, and it wasn't. The shows do this sometimes. It wasn't like I'm Lost, where we had like the Nikki Paolo deviation. You know, I mean, sometimes it can be good, but you know, but I'm like, it wasn't worth removing the focus from Joel and Ellie. It wasn't worth the time. You can, if you do a rewatch, I'm telling you right now, you can skip at least 30 to 45 minutes of that episode. And I'm thinking people are thinking, oh, it's award worthy. It's skippable. It's not even pause worthy, to be honest. Like when you leave a room, people say, "Do you want to pause?"
I got to go to the bathroom. This will be fine.
Yeah, if you say, "Oh, go ahead and pause it," that means it's good. It wasn't pause worthy.
Guys, thanks for coming on and talking with me about all this stuff. Again, we are the Middle-Aged Mutants. We'll hopefully get this out as a weekly show. If you like the stuff that we're talking about here, go ahead and I guess subscribe to us or whatever. We'd really appreciate it. And again, I'm Ty with Bodz and No Age signing off, and you guys have a great day.